Welcome everyone, and to another episode of the Faces of Saint Joseph. In this week going into Christmas, I think it's worth remembering that the first person who saw the face of God, who saw the face of Jesus, was probably Saint Joseph. He was there when he came out of Mary's womb, and I think he was probably the first one to hold baby Jesus and to see the face of God. I'm using that as a platform to introduce some faces of St. Joseph Parish to the parish. And we welcome here today Brian Fila. Brian, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. As mentioned, using these videos to put names with faces, and we just saw your face last week in the back of church promoting Exodus 90. But before we start with that, Brian, how long have you been here at St. Joe's?
I've been here for about 5 years. We moved to Downingtown in 2019, right before COVID, and not long after that, we joined St. Joe's. We fell in love with the parish pretty much right away. So
That's great. And the we is your wife
my
and
wife and
family?
two, soon to be three boys.
Great. Now you're a local to the area, is that
Yes,
right?
I grew up in Westchester. Went to school at St. Norbert's for grade school, and then Shanahan for high school.
Do you know, I believe we have some other St. Norbert's people who were raised at St. Norbert's and then moved, have their families here. Do you know any of the other
Yeah,
families like
absolutely.
that?
Yeah, it's been cool to see.
Yeah, I've met several from before when I was in Philip and James, Immaculata. I knew some St. Norbert's people, and it's been really great meeting them again. But now in a different time in your life, and now with your family.
Yeah,
And how many children?
it's been great. Two boys and a third on the way.
Oh,
A
great.
year in April.
This is a good time of year for
Yeah,
expectancies, and that's terrific. Two boys, you said?
yeah,
And you know,
and
if a
another
boy or a
boy.
girl? Another boy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Great. Excellent. As far as your involvement in a parish, having been married, relatively recently, um, your own faith journey, was that something as far as like your involvement in a parish life, something that was important to you your whole life, or something new to your marriage, or
Yeah, I think so. I mean, sure, I've had ups and downs. I think I really started making my faith my own in high school, with a good retreat. I had two friends tell me in high school that they were going to enter the priesthood, and that was kind of like one of their wake up calls to say, maybe this is real. Maybe I should start taking this more seriously. And um, had good experiences in retreats through college, and really started making the faith my own late high school and college.
That's terrific. One of the unique parts for me being here at St. Joseph is how many young families there are, and a lot of times in those adjustments of life, whether it's from bachelor to husband and family, um, sometimes the faith background, is, not always so oiled or so there. And I think as we meet so many young families here in our parish, as I meet them, it's always interesting to hear kind of what was the good oil for that, whether it was a friendship or their own family, or quite honestly, their spouse. I know this year in RCIA, so many people through their marriages are learning more about the faith, and coming to their own relationship with Jesus and the church. Um, Exodus 90. How did you
Yeah.
find out about this?
So back in I want to say 2020 or yeah 2020, a friend of mine invited me to do it. It was coming at a good time in my life. I was I felt like struggling with anxiety for the first time in my life.
Mhm.
I was filling myself with lots of distractions with media, drinking too much, and um, you know, my head was not in the right space. I thought that wasn't fair to my wife, wasn't fair to my kids. And a friend invited me kind of at the perfect time, and I kind of jumped into the opportunity, and um, it really helped show me how to get these things out of my life that are um, clouding how I should be as a man. So
Yeah. What
you know
what does it provide? What is
yeah,
it?
so the main exercise is a 90-day spiritual exercise that leads up to Easter, and you're really removing a lot of distractions. You're removing all kinds of unnecessary screen time, on your phone or on TV. You're taking cold showers, which can be challenging. They want you to exercise at least 3 days a week. You're not eating snacks, not eating desserts. And then you're adding a whole daily holy hour. So they give you guided reflections, Bible reading with a reflection after that. They want you to fast on Wednesdays and Fridays. And then another important piece is the fraternity piece, which is a weekly meeting with the other guys that are doing it with you, which is extremely important to it because it's hard, and you need that support system.
You can't do it alone,
No,
right? And I think sometimes, we know in ourselves maybe what we need and we try to do things, but together, I think, is always stronger. So, I guess that togetherness fraternity is both locally here at St. Joe's, which we'll get to, but also nationally, right? This is a
yeah,
national
it's a
program?
national program, and they give you the tools you need to support the people in your parish or wherever you're doing it. So
Great.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. What does it look like here at St. Joe's?
So this is only going to be I guess the third year I've been doing it with some parishioners. The second year where we actually have a room here and a real ministry. So I would say it's kind of growing. So we had about 15 guys last year. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more than that this year. And we meet in the parish meeting center, which is behind
Right.
the school. And yeah, it's I think it's
Great. I joined you for the rosary,
yeah.
but not for anything else. But Exodus 90, it is something worth looking into. There's a whole website, and here locally, if you need more information, through Brian. But I think it is interesting, especially now in this like Christmas season. We might not be thinking of Easter, but this year is going to be an earlier Easter than last year. So things get started earlier. Sometimes Jesus isn't even out of the crib, and we're getting ready for Ash Wednesday. But the fact that God was born into a family, the fact that human relationships are so important, not just to us, but to the Lord. It's the way He made us. And I think sometimes in a world where, on the one hand, we're so connected, but then on the other hand, so disconnected, this Exodus 90, I think, offers an opportunity to be connected in that more substantial way, beyond the internet, to yourself, to God, and even to others. So
Yeah, I think there's a clarity when you're removing all these distractions, and you can really get close to God and immerse
terrific.
yourself.
So when does it begin here?
This year begins January 5th, and the
Oh,
first
good.
meeting is January 6th.
Okay, great. And that's our St. John Newman feast day here in Philadelphia, our bishop. So, well, thank you and good luck with Exodus 90. We will promote it. I'll stop by and visit. I don't know if I'll do it. Um, Grateful for your time here.
Yeah, thank you.
Peace. Have a good day.